everybody, I've got such a cool video for you today because we are taking a detailed look at the brand new, the all-new 2023 BMW X1, and we're going to find out, is it better than the Mercedes and Lexus competitors? But first, a word from our sponsor.
It took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959. But we didn't do all that just to get here. We did it to give you a truck that'll take you anywhere. This is the new Nissan.
So to help me talk about this BMW X1, we've got Sofian behind the camera.
Thanks for having me, Tommy.
And Sofian is from Redline Reviews on YouTube. Definitely check out his review. But let's start by talking about why this vehicle is significant. So the X1 came out all the way back in 2009, and this is now the third generation of it. It's a huge seller for BMW. It's their smallest crossover. And visually, well, Sofian put it best. What does this look like, dude?
It looks like a X5, like that shrank in the dryer.
Yeah, it literally looks like the larger sibling kind of went whoop, right? Got a little bit smaller. But I think it's a pretty attractive vehicle. And because I have no style, I'm going to let Sofian take us around the outside here and get his take on it.
Yeah, so this model here is painted in a color that they call Utah Orange. Do you like the color, Tommy?
I freaking love it. I'm so excited that we still have cars in 2022 where you can get real colors.
Yeah, I think it really looks good on the lines. I think this was actually the hero color that they first revealed the vehicle in. And this model here also has the X-Line package. So it has more off-road goodies, I think. But really, it's just got silver trim. So it has a more manageable size kidney grille, which, Tommy, I think you said it still looked big in your eyes.
Okay, well, we need to talk about your definition of manageable. So if we take a look at it directly from the front, it's pretty enormous.
Well, from that angle, it's enormous, but I think it's well proportioned. Because let's look at the cars like the new 7 Series or the M4 or the 4 Series, massive kidney grills that go down to the front. It looks like beaver teeth. This just looks like nostrils.
Now, the headlights have been redesigned. They're much more angular. They're much more crisp than the previous generation.
Yeah, and they also have a new light signature as opposed to where they still kind of have the haloed elements, but it's kind of almost like a C shape to me. But unlike the previous generation, which had cheap halogens, this actually comes standard with full LEDs, which makes it look a lot better.
Well, what I think is really interesting about this is they haven't gone to the stacked headlight design, like the 7 Series and the X7.
Oh, the split head, yeah.
The split, yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't, though, because I'm still on the fence on the design element, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it showing up on every other BMW product soon.
Now, this car does come equipped, as you see it, with the 19-inch wheels. These look very similar to Subaru Crosstrek wheels to me, but I think it's a pretty attractive design.
You know, that's a great comparison, Tommy, because this is about the same size as a Subaru Crosstrek, but it doesn't look it. It looks actually significantly bigger, and that's all just has to do with the design, because look at this boxier shape. It really just looks like an X5, the silhouette does. It just shrank in the dryer, and it's around 177 inches long, so if you live in an urban environment, it's really going to be nice and easy to drive.
Now, it's about 1.7 inches longer than the previous generation of X1. Now, this model has the X-Line package, so we've got some silver accenting along the side. I do love the silver accented roof rails. That looks pretty cool. And in the back, it looks just like its bigger cousins.
Yeah, the taillights, I think they did a really great job with the overall look. It's a full LED taillight design, and it's just really simple and clean. I mean, the X-Line kind of gives you the black accents on the lower bumper, along with this kind of fake skid plate look. And remember, you can also get an M Sport package if you want it to be all body colored.
Now, one thing I've noticed on this car, Sofian, is they're not making any pretenses toward an exhaust pipe. Like, there's no fake cutouts, there's no real exhaust poking through, it's all underneath, right?
Yeah, and I think that, there was a time where I used to be annoyed that manufacturers wouldn't do a dual exhaust setup, but with everything kind of going electrification, it kind of sets the stage for what's BMW going to do in the future. Are they going to introduce an electrified powertrain? Because there is an electric iX1, but we're not getting that here in America.
Well, let's pop open the hatch here and take a look at the trunk space. So, about 25 and a bit cubic feet, right?
Yeah, and you can see it fits our backpacks in there with plenty of room to spare. And if you fold down the second row, it expands it to around 57 cubic feet. And there is a temporary spare in there, so you don't have to deal with a fix-a-flat kit.
Nice, dude. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's a very usable rear end, and I like that they have gone very vertical on the butt, very up and down, so you can fit as much stuff in there as possible. Well, let's hop on the inside and take a look at some of the cool features in there. You want to hop in the passenger side?
Yeah.
Now, the interior has been heavily revamped over the previous generation, and there's a lot of nice stuff to talk about. So what are the screen sizes, Sofian?
So this is their iDrive 8, and we've got a 10-inch display over here in the instrument panel, and then this is a 10.7-inch display, which we technically haven't seen in any other BMW product, so it's just about 5 inches shorter or smaller versus something like what you'd find in the i4, for example.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to spin this out of the sun so we're not looking directly into the sun. And we'll talk about some of the new things in here because there's a lot of it. Now, first of all, the cameras.
The camera quality and resolution is really good. I'm actually genuinely surprised. And you can also do like a perimeter scan there and see what's directly around. And they even got the color right.
Dude.
Like, actually, it's the same color as the car we're driving.
It's really nice, right?
Yeah, no, it's a nice detail that you weren't really expecting in a vehicle in this kind of price category.
Totally. Now, I'm going to put it into park. The new shifter is kind of interesting. It's this little nub, for the lack of a better word, and you pull it back to drive it forward, right? And then you push it forward to drive it backward, and then you have the engine start-stop in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the traditional shifter that BMW are used to, but it kind of frees up space over here so they can kind of do different designs with the center console.
And speaking of freeing up space, where is the little iDrive selector?
It's not here because this is the first BMW that doesn't have it, and to be honest, I don't really miss it because you're just going to touch the screen anyways.
Yeah, so this is the latest and greatest in BMW iDrive, and this 8th generation, in my opinion, is so good, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's just really easy to use. It's quick and snappy. Now, they did put some of the controls, like the climate, into the actual screen, which some of you may not like, but I think once you kind of get used to it, it just kind of fits and it works better with the whole cleaner look. And it also has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with over-the-air updates. And you can see that there's my phone connected to it, and it just looks really nice. It's really well integrated.
Did you see how seamlessly we did that transition? Wow, we are on the same page here. Yeah, it's really good, and I love that they still incorporate physical knobs for the volume as well as for track progression. And we also have these things called sport, efficient, and expressive modes. And expressive is my favorite because it changes the whole layout of like the dashboard and what you can kind of expect when you go into different modes, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's interesting how they call it expressive because I'm like, what does it do to the actual driving? I feel like it's more just like a mood change for the interior lighting.
A mood change. Now, let me zoom out here really quick. Let's talk about the steering wheel. So new steering wheel, feels great. I love the design. And once again, we do have hard controls for some of the media settings. No paddle shifters though in this model.
Which I think the M Sport model will have it, so we'll have to double check when we get back to the actual hotel. But yeah, I mean, one thing I don't like, a lot of piano black plastic trim here that shows a lot of dust and fingerprints from the bright sunlight. But there's actually a Sensitech stitch dash here, which is kind of unexpected in a vehicle in this segment.
Now let me pop open the sunroof here, and I'm actually going to turn the camera around so you can see both of us. One of the most interesting things about this vehicle is actually the seating and driving position. Mm-hmm. So I'm 6 feet tall. You're what, 7 feet tall?
I'm 5'7".
All right,
thanks, though.
about the
I'll
same.
take it.
But look at the headroom. I mean, it's insane how much headroom I have in this vehicle. And it's almost like you're driving like a little van or a little bus, and the windows are huge, so you get a great view out of the world. Now, I say it feels like you're driving a van. That's not an insult from the seating position. That's actually a huge compliment because so many vehicles now have little squatty windows. But look at the greenhouse in this vehicle.
Yeah, it makes for great visibility, which means if you are living like the city, for example, it's going to be easy to drive this thing and easy to park this car, which is why you bought something so small.
Absolutely fantastic. I also like in this model with the Harman Kardon premium sound, we've got kind of some cool funkiness on the speaker grills. We've got these unique door handles here. And why don't you open up the Monroney? Let's take a look at the sticker, or open up the glove box.
Which, oh, this is a nice blown up version of the sticker. This model here is $46,795. It starts at $38,600, which I think honestly is a pretty good deal. And then the premium package is the most expensive for $4,200, but it gives you a lot. The X-Line is actually only $500. That seems like a steal.
Yeah.
But in terms of the price, I mean, the average new car transaction price, Tommy, is like almost 50 grand. So the fact that you can get this for well under 50 is actually a pretty good deal.
And fuel economy, 28 combined. And speaking of that, we'll get under the hood in a second. Do you have your phone on you?
Yes, I do.
I want to show them something kind of funky here.
Yes.
So the wireless charger is vertical, and I love that. But in order to get your phone in, very good, look at that.
Yes, you have to flip open this little, I guess, latch that secures your phone. And honestly, more cars need this because there's so many times where I'm putting my foot down and my phone literally just goes plop and just falls onto the floor.
But it looks like it's about to ride a roller coaster. It's like you're like, hold on, little guy, we're about to go on some pretty crazy roads.
And you know what? My iPhone 14 Pro Max fits perfectly in there. So if you guys have those large phones, BMW has clearly accommodated that.
I also love how it's vertical, easy to access, easy to get to. Yeah, it's fantastic. They really did a nice job with that. And by the way, are you a big Nemo fan? What's the story with the fish?
I just liked the fish background.
All right. Okay. So here we've got the new key, sort of similar to the iX, right? Not quite as premium feeling, but you got your unlock trunk hatch there. We've got a couple of USB-C ports, and then this whole middle section has become opened up, nice and airy, great place to put your purse or your baggage, and then the center console is now teeny weeny.
Yeah, actually, it took me a second to figure out how to open it, but it's nice. I think it's really cool how it opens up, and I like how they at least still gave you some storage there.
That's why you do your review second, Sophia. So you figure out all those little things. All right, let's go ahead and hop in the back seat. You want to take the camera
Yeah.
here? Thank you, sir. All right, now it does have new door handles, which Sophian pointed out are very similar to the i4. Now, this is the seats basically all the way back. Let me get more into my driving position so we can get a better, more realistic view at what the rear seat room is like. So that's my driving position at 6 feet tall. And leg room, something like 36 inches, right?
Yeah, BMW said it was like around 36 inches, which is a decent amount, but Tommy, you're the tall one, so let's see if you could fit back here.
So legroom is okay. It's not phenomenal. This is still the smallest SUV in the lineup. Headroom, though, look at the headroom. It's nuts. It's huge.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting, especially with the pano roof. Like, usually that takes up a lot of the space, so BMW did a great job by raising the roof as high as they did.
Raise the roof, literally. It's fantastic, though. Like, even with the big glass roof, like you said. Now, one thing that they've really improved upon on this generation, in my opinion, are the quality materials. The old models were kind of hit and miss. The new one, this is still a synthetic leather material, but it feels much better than the previous model years. Would you agree?
Yeah, I always have to remind myself that this is called Sensitech because honestly, I think it's leather when I'm getting into these interiors.
Sensitech, very bougie.
Sensitech, I
All right,
know.
let's talk about some of the engine changes because that's where a lot of the differentiation lies. Here, Sophia, and I'll take the camera. Do you want to show them
Sure.
some of the mechanical changes?
Yeah, so love the fact that when you lift it up, it's held up by struts as opposed to a prop rod. But this engine, it's still transversely mounted. So you BMW enthusiasts out there that are pissed that this is a front drive based BMW, it's still that. However, they got rid of the front drive model because all of these now come standard with all-wheel drive, and we have more power, up to 241 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque from a 2-liter turbo direct injection 4-cylinder.
But the big change is the transmission.
Yes, we got rid of the 8-speed torque converter automatic. It now has a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, which BMW claims has better performance and efficiency despite the fact that it lost 1 gear.
Very interesting. Now, overall, Sofian, how do you think this compares? I'm going to close this hood, watch your fingers. How do you think it compares to the Mercedes and the Lexus and the Audi Q3 and the Volvo?
Well, compared to the Lexus, this has way more power because I think the Lexus only comes as a hybrid now, and it has a naturally aspirated engine and it's all-wheel drive, but it does get better gas miles. This is 2534. The Mercedes, I believe, has less power. I can't remember the horsepower off the top of my head. The Audi, I know, has less horsepower. I think that has like 228. The Volvo, I think, has more, 250, if you guys go for the T5.
Yeah, now I think visually, I love the design of this new model. I love how squared off it is, and I really like the interior changes. So this would be right there at the top of the list for me. I think the exterior design is better than the Lexus. It's going to be close between this and the GLB, but if you want to see a full driving review of the new X1, be sure to check out Redline Reviews. He'll have his video up here very, very shortly. But guys, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for having me, Tommy.
Sofian, this has been a ton of fun. As always, I've been Tommy with TFL Car. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks, Sofian.